Now, Bernie Sanders just recently released his Medicare for All plan. Now, that's 75 pages long. It's very detailed. And it also, well, it doesn't include other plans to pay for it, but there are several other plans in the works to help pay for this massive expansion of Medicare. Now, conservatives and, of course, center-right Democrats have come out against this with the talking point of, well, how's Bernie going to pay for it? Bernie can't afford to pay for it. It's going to make our country bankrupt. Now, the question of how you pay for something is incredibly important. But I do have to point out that it's funny how we're only asking how to pay for something if it involves giving people, for example, a college education or access to guaranteed health care. We never ask it when they proposed for tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans or the next war. But okay, hey, I want to point that out. Just want to point that out. Anyway, since this plan was released, and like I said, there are several different proposed methods to pay for it, including his tax, including a tax on the rich and a tax on employers. Right-wingers have decided to continue further the smear by digging up an old tape from 1987 to go after both Bernie Sanders and the idea of single payer. I want to show you the clip that a lot of right-wing sites are showing right now. Let's take a look.
We expanded Medicaid to everybody, right? Give everybody a Medicaid card. We would be spending such an astronomical sum of money that, you know, we would bankrupt the nation.
Oh my God. Right from Bernie Sanders' mouth to the conservative ears. Medicaid for all, bankrupt the nation. Such an astronomical cost. We told you it would bankrupt the country. Here's Bernie Sanders saying that. What changed, Bernie? What changed? What changed? We were right. We were right. You idiots. First of all, he's talking about Medicaid, right? Now, Medicaid is different, but let's also look at the context, right? In the context, he's going to talk about if you don't have a way to control the prices. In fact, I want to show you the full video in its full context, and then I'm going to explain why this right-wing attack is just nothing more than a ridiculous smear. Let's watch.
One of the points that we understand, and I think was reinforced that when we went to Canada, is that, at least as I see it, and I'm not an expert on it, but this is the way I see it. Number one, you want to guarantee that all people have access to health care as you do in Canada. But I think what we understand is that unless we change the funding system and the control mechanisms in this country to do that, for example, if we expanded Medicaid to everybody, right? Give everybody a Medicaid card, we would be spending such an astronomical sum of money that, you know, we would bankrupt the nation. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that and why in Canada, under their national health system, you can have access for all people, and yet per capita, it is less expensive than in the United States.
Well, for one thing, you don't have extra charges. For another, the fees are negotiable.
Okay, so as you can see, when you play the video in context, it's framed as this is what the opponent is going to say about any sort of single-payer program, and I'm asking a question of how the Canadians are able to go and expand healthcare to everybody and still pay less per person. So, and he mentioned, well, you have to have some sort of control on the prices in order to be able to bring those costs down. But they don't show you that in a lot of these right-wing videos, or at least they'll show you the video, or they won't even expect you to watch the video. They'll put up some crazy headline like, oh, Bernie Sanders, Medicaid for all, bankrupt the nation, and then they'll post a video in there and just be like, look at Bernie Sanders, hypocrite, what changed? But no, if you listen to what he said, he's saying exactly what he continues to say today. How can he rail against expanding Medicaid for all, or in this case, Medicare for all, while also praising the Canadian system for guaranteeing health care for everyone, while also, of course, paying less than the American system does? That's what he talks about. So in 1987, he was asking these questions, and it seems like he was in favor of doing the same kind of single-payer system. And he asked, how can we deliver health care for cheaper to everybody in America? And the answer to that is, of course, you look for you look at other countries who can do so. But see, the right wing, this kind of smear, this kind of taking Bernie Sanders or somebody out of context, this is all they have. It's a ridiculous, like I said, it's a ridiculous smear. And if this is the worst that the right wing has, they're not going to get very far. And look, right-wing media, like I said, they're on fire about this, right? They're using it again to tout their claims that Medicare for all is just unfeasible. It's a pony, as Hillary Clinton would put it. But what's funny is it's strange how every other country in the world can seem to do it while paying less per person. Look, when you look at that, their argument completely falls apart. And again, Sanders says that in the video that, yes, we do pay more, and if we expanded Medicaid under the current system and everything stayed the same, which it wouldn't under a single-payer system, then it would, yes, be incredibly costly. But again, there are controls and things built into the Medicare for All bill that would help alleviate that cost. For example, the government would have the leverage to negotiate drug prices and prices for hospital stays and how much they pay doctors for services. They can use that leverage to bring the price down, which of course will bring the price down for everyone. Not only that, but Medicare right now is far more efficient than private health insurance. In fact, you've got much, much lower overhead and no advertising costs. I think Medicare currently, not including Medicare Part D, which is your private supplementary insurance, has an overhead of 1.8%, whereas your average insurance company has an overhead of 12 to 18%. And that includes, of course, advertising costs and executive bonuses. Advertising actually makes up a huge chunk of what they spend your money from your premiums on. So the government doesn't actually have to do that. Nor does the government give executive bonuses. So, like I said, smear, ridiculous. But it does show you that the right wing is generally afraid of this piece of legislation, especially since it's actually gaining steam in this Congress, and it's actually very popular with the American people. Over 60% of the American people are like, yeah, I would like a universal single-payer healthcare system that covers everybody. Wonderful. Now, this kind of reminds me of that old saying, which they, of course, misattribute to Mahatma Gandhi, but I'm going to say it anyway. First, they ignore you, and of course, they did. Then they laugh at you, which there was plenty of that, even among Democrats. Then they fight you, which is where we're at now. And does anybody want to guess the next step? Oh, right. Then you win. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.